Hi, everyone. Welcome to this special presentation this evening. We're introducing the second product from the Ancestral Roots line, and it's called Soil and Sea. So thank you very much for joining us. Just give me 1 minute and we will get Julie to introduce it while people join. If you can, change your chat settings to everyone so that we can all join the conversation. And also, if you have questions, add them to the Q&A. There's a button at the bottom of this meeting, and we'll try to get to those at the end of the session. Julie put together some slides. It's going to be an education event. You will do Q&A at the end, Julie.
Yeah.
And just while people are checking in and joining us, would you mind telling us a little bit about Soil and Sea and how we got to this evening? First of all, how long has it been?
How long has it been to get to Soil and Sea?
To get to where we are right this minute, yeah.
3.5 years, I guess. Yeah, and the wolf, I think, was 4 and a bit. Yeah, 4 and a bit. So, hi everybody. It's interesting to like launch another product so quickly after we just did the wolf strain, and I know that it's a lot to take in with, because our products are so, and our formulas are so unique that there's a lot of education behind it, not just the here's a product. So the Roots line, I know for those of you that weren't on here for the wolf strain, the Roots line of Adored Beast comes from me really living out in the middle of nowhere, living like right on the ocean, and really being in the dirt. Like, I'm not kidding, like either in our mushroom forest or in, planting stuff, doing hay, being right on the ocean. And I've always been such a nature freak, and I've always looked to nature for healing because that was my mom. But living out here and having that experience of having my vet hospital for 20 years and seeing so much chronic disease, and really in the last 5 or 6 years with Adored Beast and the influx of holistic medicine and supplements and things like that, I really have been seeing still a gap. So in that gap, to me, that gap is us getting ahead of ourselves with holistic medicine and supplements, and creating them based on too much of a conventional mindset, so a Western mindset, and trying to take this stuff from nature and turn it into something that is Western or conventional. And it's nobody's fault, because me going through the trenches of dealing with large pharmaceuticals and vet associations and getting my hospital license and things like that, we've been forced to prove ourselves. And the only way that we could prove ourselves is to prove ourselves within the confinement and the restraints of the Veterinary Medical Association or Health Canada or the FDA or whatever. So it's nobody's fault, but I think we're losing ground because we're still seeing so many chronic diseases. Animals are still living a lot less than they did even 50 years ago. They're getting their first chronic disease when they're really young, like 18 months old. They're being diagnosed with stuff, whether that's allergies or chronic ear infections or whatever, the whole gamut, or even cancer, right? So 1 in 2 dogs are getting cancer. So even though we are on this this path of holistic mindset, we're still not getting it. And so my honest opinion and my hypothesis and my understanding of just being in this for a really long time, like 30 years, over 30 years, I feel like we're missing it because we're not listening to nature. We're not looking at what made dogs and cats and people healthy 200 years ago, what makes what we're making dogs and cats and people and animals healthy even 100 years ago. Like what was that gap? What's going on? Why aren't we, what are we doing wrong still? So I started looking backwards into all of the different things that we're missing. And the wolf strain was that that, for lack of better words, virgin bacteria in an ancestral dog, right? So something that hadn't been affected by the urbanization or antibiotics or vaccinations or processed food, things like that. So it this line that we're coming out with, you're going to see every time we launch something that it is going back to our roots, whether that's roots of our dogs, specifically with the wolf strain, or in this case, our roots with what made species healthy. And that species could be species of rabbits and people and dogs and cats and horses and cows and chickens and whatever. And that big gap is the way we've produced our food. So you guys have probably heard me talk before about our food not having the minerals and the nutrients that it once had, and it simply doesn't. So we can eat organic, we can even eat local, we can do the best, but unless we're eating local and our food is growing from regenerative farmers, which means that they aren't digging in the earth and flipping the earth over, so then all that beautiful bacteria, when it gets flipped over, is destroyed by sunlight. And everybody that knows me that I'm a bacteria freak, and I feel like us removing bacteria out of our life, whether that's hand sanitizing or washing our food or not having any proper bacteria in our soil, that has been a large demise of why our food isn't giving us the types of minerals and the types of vitamins and nutrients that it once had. So I think that it's a really important piece to remember. And part of this whole project for me is when I look at probiotics and I look at prebiotics, to me, as everyone knows, we've never used just a sugar-based maltodextrin or any kind of a FOS or things like that, because I've always tried to find something and do something called functional prebiotics, which means that the prebiotics aren't just there as sugar to feed the bacteria, but that it actually does something. So I have like the most amazing, I always say this in every single Ask Me Anything or launch or anything, I have the best business partner and friend in the world, and he supports me to look at different ways of regaining our health and regaining our health of our animals. And so I've been digging into regenerative farming for a long time, and that's why we have this sort of regenerative forest with our mushrooms and that whole bacteria thing. But now the launch of our new roots line is going to be looking at every aspect of that. So I think from that, I will move into the slides, and then when I do the slides, I'm probably going to talk a little bit more about stuff. So so our new product is called Soil and Sea, and it's from our Roots line. It's our second product, And as you can see with this beautiful picture that Stephanie did for the slides, it is really bridging. It's truly bridging that that density of the bacteria and minerals and everything that our soil provides for us, and then bringing the C into it from a perspective of a prebiotic. So when you see this picture, think of this product, because that is exactly what it's doing. It's that synergy and that connection that we have with the sea and the soil. Okay, next. So every product in this new line stems from my hypothesis of turning to nature for our answers. Okay. So, and what it is, it's primordial, pre and probiotic derived from the soil and sea. So everything again in this line, our roots line, is based on ancestor stuff. So like whether that's primordial soil, whether that's something that a strain of wood, in this case chlorella, that comes from the sea. Whatever we've done is we've gone back as far as I can possibly go back to say what would have made this animal healthier, what would be making this mushroom more medicinal, what would be making this pre and probiotic, what would it be doing to our nutrition, right? So what are we missing from our nutrition that we can possibly gain through our gain and support in that gap through a pre and probiotic? Okay, next. So soil and sea is a synergistic blend of probiotics derived from primordial organic soil, and our newly researched prebiotic Chlorella, taken from a prehistoric strain, in the ancient minerals of humic and fulvic acid. Next. 3 simple ingredients shared from Mother Nature: the probiotics, the prebiotics, and the minerals. Now, our roots line, you're going to see this more and more. It is a lot of it's a simpler line, because I'm trying to create more of a functional, almost functional nutritional probiotic and prebiotic. Okay. So as I was saying, the earth is full of beneficial bacteria. The dirt is full of it. By feeding the soil-based probiotics to our animals, we are providing them with the essential bacteria that have been lost through the sterilization techniques of modern farming. These bacteria have been, still are, incredibly vital for health and longevity. Now, if we go into this a little bit more, where we're talking about sterilization techniques of modern farming, I don't know how old everybody is out there. I don't know if anyone has ever been able to experience just going into a garden and pulling out a carrot and banging off the dirt and eating it. I don't know if anyone has been able to do that in their lifetime, but it was something that was in my very, very common in the way I grew up. And we didn't wash any of our food. And if we did, we just rinsed it. But half the stuff that we would have in our garden, it was growing right out of the garden, and we would just, rub the dirt off and eat it. If it was like something like a kohlrabi or something like a cucumber that like even, grew on the dirt, or even a carrot that you pulled out and you banged. We actually got a lot of dirt in our diets back then. So it is phenomenally important. And I want to tell you a little story. I've been following this research, or followed this research for many, many years, of the oldest living tribe. And I think I did talk about this in the wolf strain, but it's even more important in this, where the oldest living people are a tribe where the scientist went in and he lived with them. And what they found is that the microbiome, their gut bacteria, the diversity of their gut bacteria, was primarily what was keeping them living basically disease free for 100, and some of them were 120 and over, and still really vital. So when they ate, they didn't wash anything. They just basically banged things off, and they would take the roots and the leaves and the entire part of the plant, and they would almost put it like in a mortar and pestle, and continue to, bang this down. And when they ate, if you can imagine, they ate 300 different kinds of species of flora and fauna throughout, and just food in general, throughout a week. Like, it was insane, the amounts of diversity that they got from all the different things. And this man, the scientist, he decided that he was going to have a fecal transplant, and which he did, and very, very well documented, and they were very careful with the whole thing. And he did colonize these bacteria that we don't even know them now. Like, they're bacteria that the common urban world doesn't have in our guts. So he did a fecal transplant, and he colonized while he was living there, and they kept doing stool samples, and he colonized and colonized. And then when he moved back, I think it was to Chicago where he lived, he continued to do his stool samples, and he tried to eat as diverse as he possibly could, but they died. They didn't exist. That transplant didn't stay. He lost it. And the idea and the thought that behind him was because he couldn't eat the same kind of diverse, not only that he couldn't eat the same kind of diverse foods, but he wasn't getting the bacteria. He wasn't getting the bacteria from the soil. He was getting, as much as he was trying to do it, he was getting sterilized food. So that's, we have processed food, but even the food that we're eating that is fresh is sterilized before it goes into the stores. If we're getting them from, lucky enough, if we can get them from a farmer's market or grow our own, they're not sterilized, but our bacteria, bacteria in our soil, it's going to take a very long time of not tilling and not destroying the soil and planting different kinds of cover crops and things like that to bring that bacteria back. Okay. So Chlorella. Now, Chlorella is one of the world's most well-known microalgae. It's a great source of protein, has all 9 essential amino acids. It contains several compounds that have antioxidant properties, including chlorophyll, vitamin C, beta-carotene, lycopene, and lutein. And I'm sure you guys have heard of all of that. It's been shown to help improve cognitive function, so brain function, bone support, joints and muscles, assist with cardiovascular, so heart disease, promote healthier skin and hair growth, which is incredibly important for our dogs especially, and it helps to detox heavy metals from the body. So now, thanks to this research that we've done over the last 4 years, we know that it's a really powerful, and this is important, functional, this is so important for you guys to hear, functional prebiotic. Because again, I have a hard time formulating anything and putting anything into my family's bodies or your family's bodies, meaning your pets and your dogs and cats and whatever, if you're using it for yourself, that doesn't play a role in health. I don't do it with anything. It takes us a longer time to formulate things. It takes a lot more time and energy formulating it. And it is, when we think of gut health and how important gut health is, Dion was, again, my business partner, was like so supportive when I said, we have to start researching prebiotics. We have to find out what amazing food and ingredients and things that are out there, natural things from the sea, natural things from the soil, from wherever, that is going to help not only give us the benefits like Chlorella does, but be a like awesome killer prebiotic at the same time. I just felt intuitively that there was such a thing. So we have been doing the research on this, and we're going to be coming out with a blog. And in that blog, you'll be able to, hit the link, and it'll take you actually to the research that we did, so that you'll be able to read it on your own time. And it takes a little bit to understand it and read it. So Chlorella has turned out to be an incredible prebiotic that also provides all these amazing benefits, along with that synergistic fuel for the probiotic. Okay. So humic and fulvic acid is another one other ingredients that we put in it, and it provides trace minerals, antioxidant, powerful phytochemicals, and amino acid. These ancient organic minerals are vital for cell health and longevity. They aid in the removal of toxic minerals and heavy metals. Humic acid also can help fight inflammation, promotes prime absorption of food, and supports the immune system. Fulvic acid creates more permeability to the cell membranes, allowing a greater body of bioavailable nutrients into the cell. It also has a phenomenal effect to help tighten the leaky junctions of the gut wall. So when you look at those three things that we actually have put into this probiotic, it is it's a really powerful formula that comes from the structure of the earth, and meaning the ocean, and meaning the deep minerals of the land, and also the primary bacteria from dirt. Okay. So the benefits of this product: it supports gut repair and immune and gut function. It's ideal with animals with SIBO, or those who even suspect to have SIBO. Ferments vitamin K, which is essential for growth and repair. Has a positive impact on inflammatory markers. What that means is it's shown that it brings inflammation down, systemic inflammation down. So it's an anti-inflammatory, works like an anti-inflammatory. Helps improve cognitive function, supports bone, joints, and muscles, assists with cardiovascular health, promotes healthy skin and hair growth, and helps to detoxify the body, which again is really, really important in our society right now. Even if we're eating clean, we're around pollution all the time. Our animals are walking through different kinds of pollution, and it's really hard to get to be completely glyphosate free, because it is in everything, including water. Okay. So soil and seed for SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. I did a lecture in Chicago about this 4 years ago. And for those of you that are maybe hearing about it, it is a really massive concern with dogs and cats. And it's becoming more well known, and it's becoming much easier to diagnose. When I lectured about it 4 years ago, it was difficult to find a veterinarian that would actually be able to diagnose it. But that's becoming, that's more and more people veterinarians are able to diagnose it. Okay. So what it is when there is an abnormal increase in bacteria in the population of the small intestine. Typical probiotics on the market often contain lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. When a dog has SIBO, these probiotics can propagate in the small intestine, exacerbating the problem and actually make it worse. The probiotics in soil and seed do not contribute to this irritation. Instead, they remain intact until they reach the large intestine in the colon. Additionally, the sugars typically from prebiotics like maltodextrin can also make SIBO a lot worse. And these prebiotics do not contain the same elements, thereby limiting the sugars in the body. So we have to be careful because there's a lot of pancreatitis going on right now, and pancreatic insufficiency can actually be have seen it misdiagnosed. It's very similar to dogs with pancreatic insufficiency can actually have SIBO, and the SIBO is the cause of that. So they don't actually have an insufficiency. The body isn't producing the correct bacteria, and the bacteria that is produced shouldn't be produced in the small intestine. So the bacteria that's in the large intestine should not be living in the small intestine, and it can cause a lot of problems and a lot of sickness in dogs and in cats and in people. It's huge in people now. I would say that it's, in a couple of years, SIBO is going to be as big as leaky gut. It's just a different place of the gut. It's in the small intestine instead of in the large intestine. Okay. So another really cool thing about this probiotic and pre and probiotic is it's really low down on the food chain. So again, for those of you guys out there that know how I am incredibly environmentally focused on saving the forests and saving the oceans and trying to be aware and smarter as we move forward in our lives. When we look at, so we see the lower down the food, the primary producers, and the lower down on the food chain, the less toxins you get. The higher up on the food chain that you go, the more those toxins permeate and change and shift and become much more dangerous. So when you go from phytoplankton or algae as the primary producer, and then the first order of consumers, which would be like krill, already that krill has more toxins. You're higher on the food chain. Then you look at silverfish, or you look at salmon, or you look at freshwater like sardines, fresher like fast moving fish. They have even a higher toxic level than the krill does. Then when you go up one more, the leopard seal is heavily toxic because you're moving up. And this isn't to like poo-poo anything, but I do have to say this, is that the seals are mammals, right? So they're a different kind of beast. And when you see where they are, which is just underneath an orca, using seal oil, we're really, really running a huge risk of it being highly more toxic than krill, highly more toxic than salmon, highly more toxic than sardine. We're really coming up the food chain here, and then the top is the orca. So I would love, or I hope everybody really pays attention to this, because sometimes things are, I'm going to use the word fads, and when we all know how we have to be very careful with fish oil in general being rancid, in general being, instead of it being an antioxidant, it's actually the opposite. It actually causes oxidation. When we're looking at seal oil, not only do we have those same concerns because it's processed the same way, but we already are one, 2, 3 tiers higher in the incredible toxicity within that animal because it's higher up in the food chain. Okay, so here's the food chain when it comes to, so that was the food chain when we were talking about Chlorella or phytoplankton, things like that. This is the food chain now when we're talking about herbivores, so things that our dogs consume, right? So things like cows and rabbit and whatever that we're feeding our dogs and cats, and with a lot of people themselves. So when we look at soil, and we're looking at bacteria, and we're looking at what we get from that, it's primary. It's as primary as we can get. Then that soil, and the same with mushrooms, right? So the same with the mycelium, the same with mushrooms. It's very, we're in that healthiest level. Then in that soil, depending what's in that soil, how nutrient dense it is, how bacteria dense it is, it feeds our vegetables, right? So it feeds our vegetables and it feeds our trees. And then, which means it feeds our fruit and our berries and our lettuces, and then our grass that the cows eat and whatever. So then photosynthesis happen with the primary producers. Then the herbivores eat them. So the cows and the turtles and the bugs and the rabbits and the different kinds of animals. So we're going up from the lowest in toxicity up, and then we're seeing things like omnivore carnivores, right? So secondary consumers. So we're looking at bears and possums and birds and mice and things like that. And then when we go to the top, I think this is why, I don't know, I mean, I can't tell you for sure, but it's why we wouldn't be feeding bobcats and foxes, and even though they're the closest to our dogs and our cats, they're not that far up from things like mice and whatever. So we really have to pay attention and know our wildlife, know what we're feeding our animals, know what we're feeding ourselves, and really look at that food chain from an ethical point of view, and also not just an ethical point of view, but the point of view of us paying attention to the amount of toxins that we're putting in our own bodies and in our animals' bodies on a daily basis. The other thing that's really important is where you see thermal energy. So when you look at the little things on the sides, if you're paying attention, like I always feel like if you do good for the planet, you're doing good for yourself. So if we're paying attention, it's that synergistic way that we live in the world. It's a synergistic way that we're supposed to be living to support nature, and then nature supports us. So when you look at that thermal energy part, when you're eating from the first and the second level, so mushrooms and plants, and I'm not telling people to run out and all be vegan or all be vegetarian. I'm just explaining. When we're looking at those first two layers, what those first two layers are, it creates the least amount of our greenhouse gases. It creates the least amount of the shift in the toxicity of our thermal energy. So it is the most supportive with global warming. And then as we go up, it's more dangerous to our bodies, and it's also more dangerous to our planet. Okay. So the directions for use, it's for dogs and cats and horses. And I don't have the horse thing on here yet because we don't have the horse jar ready yet. But it's pretty simple. 1 to 15 pounds. It's a 1/16 of a teaspoon. Teeny. 16 to 39, a quarter. 40 to 59, half. 60 to 80, 9 3/4, and 90 plus 1 teaspoon. Okay. So just to recap, what we're starting to do with this roots line and just with Adored Beast in general, I mean, it's always been our focus to make sure that every single ingredient that we use is environmentally supportive, not just sustainable for a company, but sustainable for our earth. And now this is even a little step backwards, but to move forward. which is that this particular product is an accumulation of understanding that the synergy of all the minerals and the bacteria that comes from soil and the minerals and nutrients that come from the sea really contribute to overall health and longevity. And the other super cool thing about this is that, just quickly about postbiotics. So postbiotics is something that's you're gonna hear about a lot. I've been digging into that a lot for about the last 7 years. And you can't buy postbiotics. So you can't purchase postbiotics and make a product with it. Postbiotics is what happens with the right bacteria and the right prebiotic. So the right probiotic and the right prebiotic that has a synergistic cumulative effect that produce the benefits in the gut. So produce the short chain fatty acids, produce the anti-inflammatory effects. So the more you have the correct prebiotic and the correct probiotic, the more benefits you get from your formula, from your pre and probiotics. If you are just throwing something into a probiotic, you're going to get benefits, but you're not going to get the same benefits as this purposeful combination. And we're seeing that more and more and more and more in our research, that it is that prebiotics are as equal, if not more, than using the right probiotic. So there's more and more and more research going into that. Adored Beast is part of that research because it's phenomenally important. Okay, Steph.
Thanks, Julie, for putting that on for us. Little education sessions are always helpful. Okay, so I have something super special for everyone. The new Soil and Sea product is live now on our website. I'll add the links here for you. And if you use code SOIL20, it's 20% off for you, and you get early access before anyone else. It doesn't officially launch until tomorrow morning. All right, so let me put that in the chat for everyone. Julie, I'm sure we got a heck of a lot of questions here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the one with my dog may have SIBO. Will there be a digestive enzyme product offered similar to Healthy Gut that contains soil-based probiotics or alone, so pet parent can rotate? So that's what this is for. So what we have to remember is that the enzymes are not, oh, I hear what she's saying. She's wondering if our enzymes will be sort of the lactobacillus free and use a soil-based probiotic. That's a very good question. And something that we should probably think about is having a full line with predominantly soil-based ones. But saying that, the wolf strain is a little different. So our wolf probiotic, because it is mammalian and not the, like, from a cow, and it has a turkey tail as its prebiotic and not maltodextrin or not FOS or anything like that, that would be a really good one to rotate with as well. So when you look at soil-based and the wolf strain, there are enzymatic metabolites. So it would be cool just to see how your dog does on a combination of the wolf probiotic with the turkey tail prebiotic and with the soil-based probiotics with the Chlorella prebiotic, and try rotating them. Take them off the enzymes for a little bit and just see if you have, like, get a little journal, write down everything. I don't know what, I'm not sure what your dog's symptoms are, because they can be everything from my goodness, everything from acid reflux to chronic diarrhea to being skinny, not being able to gain weight, very similar to chronic pancreatitis or pancreatic insufficiency. So you could try those too.
Has gone through a cleansing process, would it be enough to make it safe? What kind of cleansing process, Donna? Do you have any more context?
Depending on omega oils, if the marine, and when you say marine based, are you talking about fish? If it's an algae oil like ours, you shouldn't have to be cleaning it because it's fermented and grown on land. And our Chlorella is actually grown also on land without even just with sunlight and not even with lights. And the ocean water that they use is actually all the heavy metals and toxins are removed out of the ocean water before it's actually grown. So it is phenomenally safe. To remove the heavy metals, I don't know. No, Donna, I'm reading your chat down there, but what are you saying? Are you talking fish oil?
Fish or seal?
No, it's impossible. It's actually in the animal. It's part of the animal. It's part of the oil, right? That's like saying, can we remove if that's like saying, and it's a good question. Excellent question, Donna. Excellent question. But that would be similar to me saying, can we take a cow that's been eating grass with glyphosate sprayed all over it and eating grain that is GMO'd and all that, can we take that meat and take that all out of it? We can't. It's impossible. It becomes part of that animal and that's why it becomes even more dangerous, because as it converts into, for lack of a better word, meat or oil, as it converts into part of that animal, into part of that being, that conversion makes it even stronger. It's like when you have glyphosate and you have glyphosate on, let's say, oats or wheat, let's say, it's dangerous in itself, but when it's milled, it's even more dangerous. So the processing, so the ingesting, the way the animal ingests the food or the seal or the cow or whatever you want to think about it, it heightens the intensity of the toxicity. So that is why when it talks about food chain, why it gets stronger and stronger and stronger and more toxic and more toxic and more toxic as it goes up.
That makes sense. Thanks, Donna. Good question. Jenny's got a great question here. What's the difference between the wolf and soil and sea? I don't know which one I should choose.
Okay, good. That's a good question. You don't have to choose. They're very, 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 very different. So when Adored Beast is coming out, I'm really glad Jenny asked that question, because as we're coming out with new probiotics, my goal as a practitioner, my goal as trying to find a way of preventing disease, creating longevity, helping animals to thrive and people, because I know a lot of people are taking they're taking the soil and sea, and actually a lot of people are taking the wolf strain. So it's kind of cool. And everybody takes our other stuff. So, but what I wanted to say is that the wolf is planting bacteria from a dog's ancestor. So it's planting a bacteria that has the fingerprint of, as an example, a large breed dog is considered geriatric when they're 8 to 9 years old. Wolves can be 140 to 190 pounds, and the average wolf is living till they're 15 years of age. So when you think of that and you think, how can that be? How can they live in that harsh climate, right? Like, and dodging things and no veterinarians and nothing like that. How are they living till they're 15? Because they're really healthy. And And you can bet it's because their microbiome is diverse and untouched and not destroyed. So when we look at that, we're feeding your dog, you're feeding your dog bacteria that come from its ancestor, along with turkey tail, which has very different benefits than Chlorella, right? So very different benefits, you know, cancer fighting agents and lots of antioxidants and whatever. But we all know what turkey tail is. I don't have to go into that. There's a ton of benefits for it. So if you were to take the wolf strain and feed the wolf strain, feed one bottle of it, and then go on to Soil and Sea, then you're getting bacteria. You're getting a vegan. It's actually vegan. And everybody's probably going to go, oh my God, vegan for our dogs. No, think about it. When they would eat something, right? So let's say they killed something and then they're lying on the ground and they're eating it. Not only are they getting the bacteria from the gut of that animal that has eaten tons of stuff from the soil, they're getting soil in their mouths. The blood is on the ground, the bones are on the ground, they're ingesting soil. So the soil bacteria is going to plant a completely diverse, completely different probiotic bacteria than the wolf is. So you can't compare them. And the Chlorella is giving a prebiotic with the functional benefits of what we just talked about. Ferments vitamin K, has amino acids, has like an array of benefits that are different than the turkey tail, very different. So what we want to do is we want to feed all of them at different times, right? So you feed, there's two ways of doing it. You can do the wolf strain, finish the bottle, go on to a Soil and Sea, or you can purchase a Soil and Sea and a wolf strain and do them every day. It would cost the same. It just, you would have to buy two at the same time. So, but it would last you longer because you're alternating days. The more, and if, you know, and Phytophthora, that's another 16, 14, 15, 16 different strains that aren't in either of those probiotics. Remember what I was talking about with the guy that went to did that research on the oldest living tribes. The diversity, the different kinds of probiotics, the different kinds of prebiotics in those people's guts are astronomical. So when you're rotating through the different pro and prebiotics of Adored Beast, you're adding different things. You're adding different bacterias. We're adding different prebiotics. So they're meant to rotate. That's what they're meant to do. You're not going to hurt your animal if you don't rotate them, but to try and create the diversity of what they would have had in nature a long time ago. The more different bacteria, the more different prebiotics, the better.
Trudy on Facebook also has the same question. Jill's asking, is it a powder and a liquid? And both ladies would like to know, can we take it ourselves?
So yes, you can. And don't forget that one's a liquid. So the wolf is a liquid and the Soil and Sea is a powder. So that was a question. They wanted to know about the powder and the liquid. Yeah, it's a powder. It's a powder, and that makes sense to me because it's actually the fulvic and humic acid is actually the fulvic and humic acid. So there was no sense in putting that into an extraction. The Chlorella is actually the Chlorella, so the same holds true with that. And then the bacteria of the soil strains are powders as well. So that's why it's a powder.
Thanks, Julie. Two more questions here that are matching up. Lorene, hey, welcome back. Nice to see you again tonight. And Tammy, Lorraine's saying that her dog eats dirt. Would this be something that could potentially help with that? And to build off of that, Tammy, 4-month-old Frenchie puppy who's been eating his own poo. Could this be something to incorporate and help with that?
Yes, for sure, for sure. And the poo thing, we just did a blog. We
Yes.
just literally wrote a blog on why does your dog eat poop?
Yeah, I'll send
And
that
there's
here.
lots of different reasons, but I can tell you who was that? Who was that asked that question?
It's Diane. Oh, I'm sorry, Tammy and Lorraine.
Okay, so for the person whose dog is eating poo, there's a problem. So there is a reason behind it. So don't think it's just because it's gross or because it can be an emotional thing. Read that blog. It's an interesting blog, but 100%, they can be. Animals eat poop. I mean, they eat poop. They like my dogs eat deer poop, and they eat horse poop, and they eat cow poop, and they eat duck poop, and they eat all kinds of poop. And I think it's because they intuitively are looking for that diverse bacteria that they're not getting. I'm sure of it. So I would definitely try the two new ones. And I would also try Phytos Flora, and I would also try Healthy Gut.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Along with all the different suggestions in that blog.
Oh, here's a good one from Diane. How is this different from PhytoSynergy?
Very different than PhytoSynergy. So phytoplankton isn't the same as algae. And phytoplankton has more essential fatty acids. It has higher superoxide dismutase. It's a functional food that goes cell to cell, and I would say it's a powerhouse within its own right as an individual ingredient. So you're taking PhytoSynergy as a longevity, massive antioxidant, and I mean massive antioxidant. It's a different thing altogether. Whereas the Chlorella has similar benefits, but it has a phenomenal prebiotic ability. So it's really good for the gut, like really, really, really good for the gut. So it is different. They, like I said, it ferments vitamin K. It has a lot of gut related benefits. Whereas PhytoSynergy goes right into the mucous membranes. It's got cell to cell nutrition, and it helps with, it helps more on a cellular level to support your cells and keep your cells healthy. The Chlorella has a stronger affinity with the gut to help produce all that fermentation, to help produce the immune system in the gut, to help create a synergistic process with the probiotics, feed the probiotics, and then produce the postbiotics.
More about where the humic and fulvic acid comes from. Is this sustainable?
Yes. Yeah, it's mined sustainably for sure.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
And it comes from, again, there's all different ones. There's fulvic acid from volcanoes. There's fulvic acid from the ocean. There's fulvic acid from the fulvic acid that we have is soil. So it's from the ground, but it was where the ice age was. So it's a really large area.
Thanks, Julie. All right. Do you think probiotics can help with a food sensitivity? My dog's sensitive to beef. He's got soft stools when he eats beef every now and again.
Yeah, I do. 100% I do. But not just probiotics and prebiotics. But what I would say to you is that take out the beef while you're trying to heal the gut. So try and don't continue to feed, for the dog that's allergic to beef, what I would do is put them on the leaky gut protocol. Once you finish the leaky gut protocol, go on to PhytoSflora. Once you go into PhytoSflora, go into the wolf strain. Once you go on the wolf strain, go on to the soil and sea, and then alternate them. In the meantime, don't give them beef, because you want to try and decrease the reactivity until the gut is actually healed. Once the gut is healed, there will be less sensitivities, because the body is not the proteins and the antibodies are not seeping into the bloodstream, which is what causes that sensitivity. So once that's healed, but I always say to people, use proteins that they're not allergic to or not sensitive to start, to just chill everything out while it's healed.
Thanks, Julie. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
What were you gonna ask a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how can Soil and Sea help ferment felines? Is it similar to canine?
Help what?
Support felines, cats.
Is that there's one on the top about my cats had 2 inflammatory episodes in the
No,
last
but we can go there next.
we should do that one.
Sure.
How does it support? Exactly the same as a dog. So it's exactly the same as a person. So if you guys took it, you are using a very unique bacteria that is, like I said, it's vegan. It comes from our soil. It comes from the original, what everything that we eat originates from. Whether you're a vegetarian, whether you're a vegan, whether you're an omnivore, a carnivore, it doesn't matter. Everything that historically we have eaten and still do consume comes from either the soil or the sea. It's that simple. It is the base of everything, like everything.
Thank you. Okay, so that goes a nice segue into Joanna. Kat has had 2 inflammatory episodes in the last 2 years. She's only 2. Recovered with a course of steroids. She's fine now. Always worried she'll have another episode and no idea what's causing them. She's eating home-cooked duck. I'm giving her Healthy Gut and Visbiome daily, along with fish oil. There are so many probiotic supplements. Which one should I use? I'm also looking at something to support her kidneys, as possible early CDK has been mentioned.
Okay, so I wonder what these inflammatory episodes are. I'm not sure if she could write in when she says 2 inflammatory episodes, like what was wrong, like what happened. Whether
Joanna,
they're
are you still with us?
inflammatory bowel, liver,
Liver inflammation last year, steatitis this year.
stomatitis.
I
Hold
think
on.
so.
Where is it? I don't know. Where I'm not very good at this. Liver. Steatitis, abdominal fat, and fat inflammation. Wow, that's really interesting. So I would like to say to Joanne that is really abnormal for a 2-year-old cat. And when it comes to, I would be, I'm not going to say to not use fish oil, but I am going to say to be very careful with the fish oil that you're using. And you might want to go to krill instead of fish, because it is lower down if you're determined to just have fish rather than like our algae oil. But if you want to do that, I would maybe be looking at krill rather than, even though, that it wouldn't be my first choice. My first choice would be something that's not even coming from the ocean. But that, and definitely the Felix flora, because the Felix flora comes from a healthy cat, right? Comes from the feces of a healthy cat. And it has fulvic and humic acid. So if we're concerned about CDK at all, then anything to help detox will help your cat's kidneys, meaning to help prevent kidney disease, which is what you're talking about. And but I do have to say, Andrea Ring, if you can put Andrea's
Yep.
number or anything, because there's something going on. There's something else going on that I think all of these supplements and all of your food and whatever will help a lot. But I feel like she probably really needs a really good homeopathic treatment. And Andrea will go back and into her history from when she was a kitten, see if she can remove some of that stuff from what obviously happened to her when she was younger, if she's had 2 episodes and she's only 2 years old. But I would get on that as soon as I possibly could. And Felix Flora and the Soil and Sea would be really good, and PhytoSynergy and liver tonic would be the things that I would be thinking immediately, especially if it was affecting the liver.
Thanks, Julie. And for everyone listening to the recording, andrearing.ca. Julie, can you elaborate a little bit on fermented vitamin K?
Yeah, it helps with the fermentation of vitamin K, which is how it's created and absorbed.
Perfect. Thank you. Can you talk about which one of these would be better for my chronic hepatitis 12-year-old, not sure cat or dog? Would it be wolf or would it be potency? I'm sorry, not potency, Soil and Sea.
Yeah. Again, chronic hepatitis, you want to be sure that you're supporting the liver. So I would say liver tonic for sure, and lots of antioxidants. So truthfully, I would use both. I would definitely use both. I would rotate them. I would use one, make a little note. I'm a big one about keeping journals on your animals. I used to get my clients to keep journals on my patients constantly so that I could really see which one was affecting what. So I would try, like I said, for sure liver tonic and PhytoSynergy, but we've had so many, already so many people writing in about the wolf strain, that they've seen a difference in their animals, like within days. It's not crazy. It's so exciting for me, because to me, it's like you're giving them the fingerprint of something that's so resilient, so adaptable, so has the ability to function in the worst conditions, right? So you're giving them back that, like I said, virgin bacteria, which you can't get from a dog. Can't get it when you could get a raw fed dog, an unvaccinated dog, but that dog's gut microbiome came from its mother, right? What did its mother eat? It would take decades for that to be bred out. So if you're doing a fecal transplant, if you're doing other things, that you're not going to get that pristine microbiome, that pristine bacteria that you would from a wolf. So for that dog, I would try, like I said, PhytoSynergy, liver tonic, probably the wolf strain, and then the Soil and Sea, because like I said, the bacteria and the fulvic and humic acid and the Chlorella helps to detox and gently detox, which is very important when you're dealing with hepatitis. And that's what they need. They need a supportive detoxification, because the liver is not working to its ability.
Really quick, here's a picture of someone that received their package of wolf today. I know it's off topic, but that's one of the winners of when we did the wolf launch.
Look it, oh my God.
I know. And I've seen some really nice reviews. I was just looking for one in the community about the wolf. Like, the dogs are absolutely just lapping it up right from the dropper.
Really well. Like, there was one about her dog was itching, and within 5 days or something, it had improved within like 5 days. Like, it was crazy.
It takes really quickly. Yeah. Okay, time for a couple more, Julie. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you say how many different soil-based probiotic strains are in the product? Did we talk about that?
No, I was just gonna say, do we have that? Do we have the whatchamacallit, the
Labels?
it's 6, isn't it?
If we don't, I'm about to find it.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just gonna do.
Can different probiotics change the color of the poop? My dog's poop has turned slightly yellow. I have it here, Julie.
Okay,
Do you want me to bring it up?
sure.
There we go. Can you guys see that? Oh, excuse me while I look through this. Julie, is this what you want to see?
No.
No? Okay. Back to the drawing board. And
It's-
hey, if I
it's-
don't, yeah,
I'm not positive, but I'm pretty positive it's 6.
and by the way, everyone that has questions that are product related, you can always join us on our Facebook community. Myself, Suzanne, our product specialist, Kaylin, we all hang out on there pretty much daily and can answer your product related questions, send you blogs, assets, resources, things like that.
Link is on here. I'm just texting Leaf.
Sure. All right, here we go. A little off topic, but not really. I heard a term called MOS.
Yeah.
I know FOS, but is there any chance you could talk a little bit about MOS? All I know,
The mannose, which is a prebiotic, but it's made from a degradation of like yeast. So it makes me nervous, obviously. And it's very highly processed.
thanks, Julie. You
Well,
already,
probiotics change the color of the poop. My dog's poop has turned slightly yellow.
thank you.
Well, that particular strain of probiotics, the Ballardi, might actually. That's a good question, because it is specifically to help to pull out certain things in the stool, like yeast. So it could possibly, I'm not sure. It's 4. Leith just texted me. It's 4.
Thank you. Beauty. It's quick, fast reply from Lee.
I think we looked at 6, and there was 2 that I wasn't nervous, but there was 2 that I felt were almost unnecessary. And I'm trying, like I said, with the roots line, I'm trying to say really specific, like really specific and really simple, like as if you were going out and eating something.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're so grateful that you do what you
That's
do.
Sacra, that we have the Bulgari in our it's the only one that we have in our yeasty beast protocol.
Is that strain?
That strain, and that's why, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so that pretty much does it for questions. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Julie, do you have any takeaways?
With the raw diet, can you please help? Don't know what to do. So much hair loss as well. Told to do the relief protocols I've done. And he's still scratching himself raw. So I just have one fast question for the person that has a really, really itchy kind of like.
Jennifer, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Jennifer. Yeah, that's who just asked about the Facebook community.
Was he on any kind of drugs? And if he was, how long ago?
Jennifer, if you can tell us in the chat.
So no.
No.
So she just said no. And what it just all of a sudden happened, like out of out of nowhere, he just became itchy like that? Oh, she's trying to put
It
something.
happened about 6 months after the rabies shot.
Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So, because I was gonna, when I'm reading that, to me, there's something, either it was suppressed and it's having a rebound effect, or I was gonna say there's something derailed somewhere, because that's rare. Like what you just wrote is really, really rare. So I would say that you need to, again, I know poor Andrea. I mean, she's I know it's terrible. We need like 10 of her, but I would be looking at the rabies nosode, and I can't tell you how much I saw this at my clinic, and we could do thuja, we could do silica, but if it's really specific from the rabies, you want to do the rabies nosode, and Andrea has that you could talk to her, and maybe she could mail you some out, or help support you with this for sure. But
Andrea.
and if you might want to try to take him off of everything that he's on and put him on the 2 simple ones now, right? Like just try the wolf strain, just try the wolf and turkey tail, and take him off of all of the other ones, put him on the rabies nosode, and see what happens. But I can't tell you how much I saw animals that they looked like they had been dipped in like oil, like their skin looked burnt, and it was right after a rabies vaccine. It's one of, if they have a bad reaction to the rabies vaccine, it can be horrific. But I've seen them come around phenomenally by using the nosode and a couple of really intense homeopathics, and like I said, maybe take them off of everything else and put them on the wolf strain and the soil, and see if maybe the basics along with liver tonic would be helpful.
Thanks, Julie. And Jennifer, liver tonic along with that. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. Don't forget, if you want to try the new Soil and Sea, soil-based pre and probiotic with chlorella and humic and fulvic acid, Soil 20 is going to save you 20%. It doesn't launch officially to anybody until tomorrow morning, so you get first dibs. Thanks for joining us at the education session, and season's greetings.
Oh yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Bye, Julie. Thanks. Good night.